So I just want to continue kind of where I left off. There was a bit of a delay there for the last kind of couple of weeks. I'll tell you what was happening there is I've seen a solicitor out of town. He kind of strung me along, pretended he wasn't there for 1 week, then he wasn't there for the next week, and so on and so forth. Basically, it was outside influence. Yet again, got to the solicitor, prevented me from getting my constitutional right to get legal representation to proceed with this. The solicitor basically, he lost the balls to kind of proceed with this, if I'm being honest with you. Haven't given up as much as a lot of people would like to think that I have. I haven't. I've in no way given up whatsoever. Even though many people are desperate to make sure that this never sees the light of day. I'm past waiting there now and being put on the long finger, being honest with you. You can't say that I haven't tried to do things the right way and follow procedure and protocol. And it's been repeatedly kind of like trampled all over. And where I have to follow procedure and protocol, like basically what I do is I provide what evidence I have. Then they know what the doctor, and this is what's happening. This is going on and on and on, and kind of like it's getting to a point now where I think it's best that like if I start just like speaking the truth, and if it means that I have to kind of face going to jail, like so be it, because the truth needs to come out once and for all. But I wanted to explain this in a correct timeline. There's a reason why I wanted to explain all of this from start to finish, being honest with you, because I wanted to provide documentation that supported what I say, because I have documentation, as some people will know, and I just wanted to show that this has documentation and what I'm saying is absolutely true, and for whatever reason it's trying to be buried and they're trying to kind of suppress what I'm saying. You can make your own mind up why they're trying to do this. The assumption that I can be harassed and my family can be harassed and kind of discredited and gaslit, and then like basically implying then that my wife is a lawyer and stuff like this, and that I'm mentally unstable in an effort to try and discredit me, to try and like cover up this. This is an absolute kind of disgrace. If all that I knew, some things I can't talk about, I'm being honest with you, because of the whole kind of privacy issues. And there's other things, and I promised people that I wouldn't kind of break their confidence. But if I was to get out what I knew, like the shit would hit the fan, if I'm being honest with you. And certain people that I say, let's just say I'm arguing with, they know because they've read my private messages. They know what I know. So like basically they're shitting themselves. Then I might make a video one of these days and like kind of or upload certain things. So they need me to be kind of like, so they need to try and push me away, discredit me and push me away. But it's not just me down there, it's my wife and kind of her family and my family. And like the harassment that I endure and my family, like, is this the same harassment that some of the victims that tried to come forward, is this the same harassment that they were subjected to? Do you know what I mean? Threats of the IRA knocking at the door if they try and come forward and tell the truth. Like, unbelievable. There's situations being kind of covered up, not weeks, not months, not even years, decades. Decades some of this stuff is going on. And everyone knows about it. And no one stands up for like the people, the victims. And certain people that I'm talking about there now, you might hold one or two of these accountable. What about all the people that knew about this and they all covered up for them? And this went on for years and years and years, and it's still going on right now. This is still going on. And as I speak about this, I'm being followed around by a retired TD, being paid with a state pension, and his brother, who fucking threatened me already, tried to pass a threat through, I have to watch my words here now. He tried to pass a threat through me to another person involved, say in another case, despite strict bail conditions. He's copied the bollocks. I've tried to offer this to Waterford Gardaí, but Waterford Gardaí are no different than these people, if I'm being honest with you. They won't take it. They're doing everything in that and to harass me, Waterford Gardaí. They think driving around my apartment with sirens on is somehow kind of provoke me or something. But I don't. But I tell you what I did do, is I sent off all the evidence up to GSOC last week, so I'm sure you'll hear from it this week. But what I did do was, because Waterford Gardaí wouldn't take what I deemed to be important evidence, and what I done is I got legal advice because I felt this was important, and they informed me also that this was very important, and why wouldn't Waterford Gardaí take this information? So I explained that I was after giving the information. Not only did I give it on a stick, a memory stick, but I also gave it in writing and requested that it be taken forward, and I've been ignored. So basically, I took it out of Waterford Gardaí's hands because realistically they can't be trusted. If you look back to all the stuff that I've been talking about over the past couple of years and kind of even opening my mail a couple of weeks ago, which they're apparently investigating, they haven't even rang me or contacted me, not even once. So how are they investigating this? Do you know what I mean? That letter came from Superintendent Dunn. That's what his name was on the end of it. I can't really go into the details after that. It was opened, put into another envelope. I can't show the envelope because they know by the writing and by the envelope who kind of opened the other letter and all this kind of stuff. But that's what was done, and it was sent down. And around this time then someone falsely rang me from Waterford Garda Station, Garda O'Keefe. Turned out there was no such Garda O'Keefe, and maybe it was someone just playing a joke. This is what I was informed. But the phone number is tied to Waterford Garda stations. So someone using property belonging to Waterford Garda station to try and basically try and intimidate me or kind of in an effort to prevent me from going forward with what I'm saying. But this was supposed to be looked into. This was allegedly looked into. I was told there was no Garda O'Keefe. I told you all this. The Garda that was looking into it said to me, I'm going to be fourth week there now. He said he was at the finding the incident that it was written on a piece of paper and handed in or something. Now this is bullshit because my wife was next to me when the phone call was made and he said that someone rang up. So this is all lies. So I wanted to find out, was it on the pulse system, the details of it. I was told that I'd get it in writing. That was a month ago. I'm still waiting on that. So like Waterford Gardaí are up to their neck in this there now. I mean, they bent over backwards to protect David Cullen. Let's be honest about it, he's up to his neck also in this. And if this was ever properly looked into, he'd be the first to be suspended, and I'm telling you that. And I don't care if he's part of Sinn Féin. And I don't care if it's Waterford Gardaí protecting him, because a lot of those would also be suspended and looked into and probably sacked if it came to light the actions of some of these people. As I spoke about this person who tried to threaten me and passed the threat to me, he had no kind of dealings with this charity. Let's just put it that way, right? When this person tried to pass his threats through me to another person, what he done basically, he showed that his family were very aware of the situation, which I'd imagine they're denying, but he's after basically tying him to the situation and that he had knowledge of it. And while he was passing these threats through me, hoping that I'd upload the video and prejudice the case of another case, basically, this is what was going on. So as I said, Waterford Gardaí are kind of up to their neck with corruption and collusion with this, trying to protect this crowd, and you have this crowd trying to protect this crowd. So it's getting pretty volatile. I've made Waterford Gardaí aware of this on several occasions. When you think about it, I'm being followed around now by a retired TD. Like, if he had nothing to hide, why would he be following me around? Think about it. And he's threatening brother. Are these the same people that were banging on people's doors when the truth was about to come out regarding other people? And if people are stupid enough to think that there's only one or two culprits in this, there's a ring of these people and they should all be held accountable. That leaves all the people who covered up for this person, even though it's persons plural. But I'm just saying, as an example, I'll just say person, right? But what about all these people who covered for him through all the years, covered for him? So they all get off scot-free. I have to watch what I have to say over the whole privacy things, despite like several members of this family trying to pass threats through witnesses. Do you know what I mean? And Waterford Gardaí are aware of this and they don't do anything to it. So do you really think that Waterford Gardaí are going to bring a strong case, a solid case, when they're aware of this kind of stuff and they've done nothing? And this is going on for years and years, and we all know this is going on for years and years. And while this crowd might have the backing of kind of like David Cullen, as for Sinn Féin, I don't really know, if I'm being honest, so I'm not going to say. But they have the backing of Mr. Cullen, I can tell you that, because they swapped private emails between me and a priest that were printed off. I told you this, and they were given back to Mr. Cullen by one of these. So it shows there's a link between these people. So people should establish whether or not that link is actually true, because it's very important. Like, you have people now in place that are supposed to be regulating this and kind of scrutinising and watching what's going on. Sure, these people are all friends and they're all in each other's pockets. Like I've gone to 18 solicitors to try and get some kind of, to be honest, I would have represented myself in court, if I'm being honest. But I can't even get to like the beginning of the paperwork like done. The influence of this party regarding collusion and corruption, I think, is an issue. I think the influence of certain political pull that's being used not only to protect this crowd, but to protect several other issues that's ongoing in Waterford. We're all aware of the threats and all that kind of bullshit, being honest with you. But there's people using their closeness to a certain TD that basically allows them to do what they want. We have a soaring kind of drug rate that's getting higher. Nobody seems to condemn it. Anyone notice that? Like, but yet there's a higher amount of people voting. Since 2017, the voting statistics rose by 9.8%. This is statistically fact now before you do the whole misinformation shite. So all these people, that's almost 10% of people, got out of bed and decided once and for all that they were going to vote. But not only were they going to vote, but they all decided to vote for Sinn Féin. What are the odds on that? Do you know what I mean? And yet there's a lack of condemnation of this rise in drug culture. So statistically, you have a rise in drug culture. You have a rising number of people voting. They're all voting for the same people, conveniently enough. Like, if I'm able to like source that kind of information on Google, like, why aren't they journalists doing it or other TDs? Do you know what I mean? All we hear from Sinn Féin is this party done that, this party done this party done that. While Sinn Féin does the same as what they always do, which is protect people. I have to kind of like watch my words here now, but they're protecting people who shouldn't be protected, who should be brought to justice, and they should be publicly shamed. I'll be polite and put it that way. And I'm supposed to back down because certain members are associated to Sinn Féin, and like, despite the fact, like, the fact I'm telling the truth or the fact that my wife is telling the truth, like, that's irrelevant. What's more important is like how it will look on the party. And we seen this years ago with Miss Cahill there, I think it was 2014, of what she went through when she wanted to bring her abusers to kind of justice. Do you know what I mean? What that woman went through. Like, nothing has changed there now. There seems to be a tolerance of certain actions of people in Waterford as long as they vote a certain way. Do you know what I mean? And that coincides statistically with the rising numbers of people voting for the same party. And it also coincides with the rising kind of statistics of the drug culture. And most of these people that are voting, newly voters, are in the demographic of 18 to 30 years of age, which, as we know, most of those people will probably be stoners. Like, for the sake of like the victims, like past and present, this should be clarified instead of having people constantly trying to cover it up. Do you know what I mean? What kind of faith has anyone have in this system when you think about it? And not only about my own stuff, being honest with you, because like, it is what it is with my stuff. Like, I'll deal with it one way or the other. But like, there's other people that are kind of like, they're kind of concerned and they're worried that they might get threats because they've been befriended by members of a certain family who is basically using them, pretending that they can have the dogs called off. Let's just put it that way. If they withdraw some of the stuff that's been said, even though it's the truth and they should come out, like, Sinn Féin should distance themselves from this kind of stuff. I thought this is what the whole new Sinn Féin was. Like, what has changed? I don't rate David Cunnan. We all know why. He's a proven liar in my eyes and my wife's. Like, we know he's lying. He can spin whatever bullshit he wants in the media, like, and try and have this suppressed by the cronies that are tied to him. Not other Sinn Féin councillors. If you notice, I've never mentioned any other Sinn Féin councillors. Do you know what I mean? My issue is with Mr. Cunnan, and I'd welcome any kind of response from Mr. Cunnan, or if he wanted to have an open debate, and he can tell everyone then when his page was hacked, because he's saying the friend request sent to my wife was from a fake profile. So if you reveal to people when your page was hacked, surely by revealing this information, then you'll show people within your own party that you're not just a liar. Do you know what I mean? Unless you are sending messages from the hacked profile, which would be very strange indeed. To have certain people lined up, right, to put them into the political arena in an effort to kind of like undermine victims and what they went through. Like, that's an absolute fucking disgrace. It's bad enough you're changing the names of charities, trying to like kick shit into the face of some of these victims. You'd want to establish who knew what and for how long they knew it before you go changing the names of anything. You can rename whatever they want after who they want in an effort to play down what was covered up. Because the people in Waterford, they're far from stupid, I can tell you that, and they see this for what it is. Damage limitation, is that not what it's called? Like, I know certain things, I'm not going to get into them, but I know certain things through the years, and they know that I know certain things, and this is what the issue is now. They know that I know this, because they read some private emails and private messages, so they're scared shitless that I'm going to reveal some of this information. Like this clown who passed these threats to me, he spoke about certain things that were sending private messages to me, so we showed that he had been reading me messages. Do you know what I mean? But desperate to get a reaction out of me, had I have opened my car door, I'm sure like the guards would have been there to arrest me and all this kind of stuff. Like, where's your journalists? Where's your TDs? Where's the call for transparency regarding all of this, including like my own stuff? Do you know what I mean? I'll be totally transparent. And I know this whole kind of like me talking on this, I'd probably come across as kind of unstable. I'm not. I've no mental illness. I've never had any mental illness, but this is a case of me having to do this because, well, it's the last resort, really, to be honest with you. But there should be a call for transparency, and we'll just see which one of us is lying. It's as simple as that. And given the kind of gravity of some of the situation, like, you should definitely be called for transparency just to restore some kind of faith in the system. Like, I'm offering documentation, I'm offering proof, I'm offering dates, but you won't take this. You won't even look into it. Do you know why? Because they already know what I'm going to offer them, and they know what I'm saying is true. So they would rather try and kind of harass me, make my life hell, and kind of like make me make me wife's life hell, and kind of make me concerned for my daughter. Like, I tolerate this, being honest with you. I don't. It doesn't bother me. I'm being honest with you. Like, I have this moron living above me. There's nothing but bounce a ball and fucking drag furniture around up over our heads. Every room I go into, this goes on. Doesn't bother me in the least, being honest with you, as much as you think it does. I go to sleep at 8 o'clock in the night with my headphones in, listen to me podcast, so kind of, as much as he thinks he's annoying me, my wife tells me the next day that he's at the banana, being honest with you. I don't even hear him. But these are the kind of people that are being covered up. And while Waterford Gardaí like hammered his door, I think it was the last time I counted, I have it wrote down, I think they knocked at his door 13 or 14 times because we had to ring the guards because he was waking up the child. And he just don't answer the door because he's told not to answer the door because like he's been informed what to do and what not to do, so he just doesn't answer the door. And whereas some of the guards do try this whole kind of harassment, driving around with their sirens on and following me up and down the road when I go for a walk, some of the guards don't. They just like kind of do their job, you know. So just I can't really find fault with all of them. It's the same with Sinn Féin. I don't find fault with all of them. My issues with David Connan. David Connan ran to Sinn Féin. I never once ever called out Sinn Féin or had any kind of issue with that. But if Sinn Féin are going to protect David Connan, I feel they're open to being called out then. Like, we're all aware, and I don't want to be going on about this kind of all the time, we're aware of Mr. Conan's and his up the rah remarks. Now, bearing in mind victims of a certain situation were also threatened with the fucking IRA. So, do you know what I mean? So you should establish like whether or not this is connected. And bearing in mind the person who printed off my private emails that were sent to a priest and passed them back to David Conan, let's just say his family are at the heart of another investigation. So there you go. There's 3 things there now. One thing is connected to the other thing, and so on and so forth. Like, that should be established. That's super important, and it should be established. They won't let you. They'll tell you, don't listen to me, that I'm fucking mentally unstable, or I'm this or I'm that, and obviously I'm not. I'm aware because I was quiet there for a couple of weeks. People assumed that I was after giving up. I wasn't after giving up. As I said, I got the runaround by a solicitor, and I was asked first originally not to post that, and I don't post that, and so I kind of didn't. So I gave him the benefit of the doubt. Basically, I was fucked around, but I'm in no way giving up, and the fact I'm going to get louder, and I'm going to start putting the information out there for all to read and all to see if needs be. And if you need to send me to jail over that, bring me to court, that's fine, because I would gladly stand in front of that judge and tell him what's going on. There's too many incidents of corruption and collusion for it to be impossible. And the more things that I prove, then the more it supports the next thing that I'm saying. So now we have Waterford Gardaí basically up to their neck now after opening me mail and fucking they're all over the place, being honest with you. They're trying their damnedest not to look into this and to harass me, the hope that I might kind of give up. But as I said, I won't be giving up. But I don't trust Waterford Gardaí. I don't trust Tranmore Gardaí after that bullshit investigating the summons, pretending that we're after reading the file. Unfortunately, now I have to take it aside of Waterford. Like a lot of this stuff needs to be investigated publicly to avoid political influence, legal influence, fucking influence within the guards, all this kind of stuff. So like that's why it needs to be publicly kind of investigated, and that's why I kind of do these videos. Kind of, I know fucking I don't come across too well now sometimes, but probably most times, but I do it for transparency. Like, where's the TDs that are calling for some kind of transparency with this, or a journalist or anyone? Do you know what I mean? It's not just Mr. Conlan. There should be other TDs saying, do you know something, this is getting quite messy, and just out of kind of, just so we know who's telling the truth, we should probably have a transparent investigation into all of this. I understand Sinn Féin kind of like they feel that they have to back Mr. Conlan to the hilt, and I kind of understand that as a party. Kind of, I think he got the majority votes in Waterford, so I'd understand kind of Sinn Féin having to kind of back him to the hilt. But I personally, I don't rate him. As I said this in the last video, like to me, he's nothing but a liar. To my wife, he's nothing but a liar. So like if Sinn Féin are going to lead by example, like what's the example here? That you're going to support liars such as himself. Despite him being caught lying, you're going to still support him lying, and you're just going to increase the harassment and the gaslighting they meet. Do you know what I mean? Like that's some example to be setting for the future. Like as for Waterford Gardaí, they're supposed to be investigating my mail being owned. I got a letter saying it was being looked into. Like no one has even rang me. So how can this be investigated? No one has rang me. No one has asked me even how. How do you know that your mail has been opened? That'd be the first thing you would ask, wouldn't you? Well, I videoed this when it came into letterbox. I'm not going to get into details because if I show the letters and stuff, they'll know about the handwriting on the letters and all this kind of stuff. So I videoed it. I felt weird. I showed it to my wife. I was like, look at this. Someone was after clearly crumpling up a letter, sticking it in another envelope and sending it on to me. And that's the way it is. So I felt weird and I videoed it. But I don't trust Waterford Gardaí to provide this kind of evidence to them because they'll just doctor it, just like they've done with all the other stuff. But my point being, this is another fuck up by Waterford Gardaí. Just like this person who rang me from the property of Waterford Garda station, and then they tried to tell me, oh, maybe it was someone messing around, and they said his name was Garrett O'Keefe. There's no such Garrett O'Keefe. I just mentioned that a few minutes ago. And I put it up on Facebook, and that day they said they were after finding the incident, that there was a letter that was handed in, and I was to get a written letter posted out to me. That was a month ago. I still haven't got that. So like they're all over the place. They don't know what they're saying, being honest with you. And they need to be investigated. Like the behaviour of Waterford Gardaí towards my family and my in-laws is absolutely fucking despicable in an effort to protect David Cullinan and the cronies around him. It's unbelievable. And it's not just me alleging stuff. There's paperwork there. There's documentation there. They won't let someone take this. And that's basically what the issue is there now. I can't even get someone to look at this. Because even when they begin to start looking at it, someone out of the blue contacts this person and they back out of it. I had a journalist looking into this. He's from one of the red top newspapers. I'll just put it that way. And he was looking into it. And he kind of got he said he was getting leaned on by members of Sinn Féin. And that he'd have to back out. Whatever that's supposed to mean, but he was the only one to really tell me the way it was, because some people would be interested and then all of a sudden they'd back out. But this person, I won't give his name, but he was willing to tell me of what was going on in the background, and he said that like the only way really to deal with this is through kind of transparency and publicity, because it's a dangerous situation because of some of the stuff that I'm alleging and some of the stuff that I have proof of. Like, I'm supposed to trust the same Garda station, Waterford Garda station or Tranmore Garda station. How can I trust these people when you think about it? If you go back through my videos, and I'm not saying do go back, but you can't if you want, like, but like there's been so many incidents of like losing information, saying I was too late to report stuff. Like Simon Harris, I wrote a letter in 2016 regarding a psychologist employed by Tusla. I was pointing out how she had contact with me family several years before having contact again. Basically, he set up for me to give a statement up more for Garda Station. And when I went up to give the statement, I ended up being assaulted by the sergeant in front of my wife. And I was only there to give a statement regarding this whole Tusla stuff. But because I was mentioning kind of Mr. Connan regarding certain issues, this sergeant, he wouldn't even sit down to take the statement. He basically started on me. And I got assaulted in front of my wife. And my wife never dealt with the guards before, so you could imagine the fright she got. But I was lucky enough to kind of get back out the door. He tried to have me arrested. And a couple of guards that were there at the time, 4 or 5 of them, he called for backup. And I don't know what happened, but they all turned their back on him. And they wouldn't help him. And I managed to get out the door. But I'm just saying, like, this is how far back. But I'm just saying, this is how far back the whole kind of distrust thing is going there now. With Waterford Gardaí. That was in 2016, 2023 now. Like. And as for me ex, and this psychologist who I've mentioned, and I keep mentioning, I know I keep mentioning, like who started all of this kind of stuff, right? And she's now promoting that she has the backing of Tusla, that Tusla are backing her. I've had the task there of listening to her interviews and her podcasts and reading her articles and kind of, she's had to put a lot of stuff out into the public through the media that makes it look like I was abusive, basically, if I'm being honest with you. She was on the two Norries there in October 2022, and she basically implied that I was abusive and kind of. This is all lies. I was worried about the kids. She didn't stick to the court orders. There's loads of court orders she didn't stick to. There's loads of stuff going on. Told you she tried to ruin my wedding in 2019. She sent me down a picture of her mother when my mother passed away in 2021. This woman really is a kind of a piece of work. And rather than just try and keep talking about her, I want to play like her interviews and read her articles. And I want to provide documentation to show that she's a liar. And she's nothing but a liar. Do you know what I mean? And this woman that's supporting her, this psychologist in Tusla who recruited us into this stupid religion, this Baha'i religion they call it. Like, I hardly made that up, but you can check all this because HSE were actually promoting this religion a year after I said that she was promoting it. Like, this woman needs to be investigated. I could also be lying at the same time. They can hold me accountable if I am, but if I'm not lying, this woman should not be around vulnerable people, vulnerable families. Like, if she's recruiting for a religion, you know what I mean? Not only that, like, why is the HSC promoting the Baha'i religion? Why aren't they promoting one of the Arab religions or kind of Scientology or kind of Mormons or, do you know what I mean? They just happen to be promoting the one religion that I said that she was recruiting for, and that my ex is also kind of very much a part of this and getting favours from the HSC and Tusla because of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to gather all our articles and our interviews, and I'll get documentation. I'll play what she's after saying, and I'll discuss what she's after saying, and I'll tell you the truth of what she's after saying. Like, she's claiming that she walked out of Ashery in 2008 and that she was drug free since then. Like, there's people that are willing to give affidavits saying that she was taking drugs in 2014. We were both taking drugs, me and her. If I'm being honest with you, but she was sneaking down heroin. This is the fact. And I only found out about this when they started ringing me from Dublin wanting their money. I had no idea about this. So like there's like lots of stuff like this. Like she's passing off a lot of my past as her own and kind of like she's basically duping people. And I feel like it's time once and for all that someone called this out. Do you know what I mean? It's unfortunate that Mr. Cullinan and the guards and all the rest of them like got lured into the bullshit that she spread. But she did, and you showed your kind of true characters. And that's really what's up. They don't want this getting out because it paints a very um unsavory picture of these people that you're supposed to trust. Oh yeah, one more thing. You keep reporting me to the social welfare and kind of like trying to get me hap stopped. And they definitely try and get lose me house and me home. Like take me home from my daughter and my wife. This is the kind of stuff that was going on. This has worked twice now already. Once up in Barry Street, we all know, at the hands of another crowd of Sinn Féin, yet again. And then again out in Tranmore, where my ex had an input to that again. So now they're trying to do it again, basically. So I want people to know the character of these people. This is the kind of people I'm dealing with. They're trying to like take the home from me, like a wife and my daughter. Like, do you know what I mean? This is what I have to be concerned about. When I went up and reported that clown who was threatening me there a month ago, like the Bangarda, when she was in the room with my wife on her own, she tried to tell my wife that she might be better off if she wasn't with me. Not unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? Playing marriage counsellor. Do you know what I mean? You can't even be a decent cop. I don't know. I leave it there anyway. I haven't given up. As I said, there's a whole privacy issue regarding certain topics, but I promise you, when that's lifted, I'll have me say regarding that. And as I said, the documentation is all there if anybody wants it. So I'm going to try and make me videos now more regular, and in a week or two, I'm going to start kind of vlogging daily, just to show you like what it's like trying to make a complaint in the system and how the system deals with your complaints. And I have paperwork. I have loads of paperwork and videos that support everything I'm saying. And I'll show you, even when you submit these, that they find a way not to take them. And this is what's going on. And at the heart of this is a lot of people. Some of you know very well because they've been at it like decades, being honest with you. But some of you don't know. So I think once and for all, like these people were called out and like shown to be the very untrustable people they are. So I leave it there and I'll get back to you in a couple of days. Thanks.